Thank you, Dina. Good day, everyone. It's been a great time listening to the conversation around data. And my intervention is building on what has been said by my colleagues. We have a situation whereby we have the need to bring together people who are working to co-produce knowledge. And more often than not, it brings about collaboration between institutions from the global north with institutions in the global south. And when you look at the nature of this collaboration, you will see that the arrangement often manifest in some form of lack of data equity and impact in low and middle income countries. Having worked for more than 2 decades now on a number of collaborative research, one begins to see that there is this continuous gap, or if you like, a digital technology divide, in spite of global data technology progress. And this has made it to result in a kind of imbalance whereby the data processing tilts towards the global north in terms of being feature extraction. And so that is because of certain advantages that institutions in the global north has over the counterparts in the global south. We talk about higher access to funding, because most funders, even where they call for collaboration between institutions in the global north and south, would always give higher percentage of the funding to institutions in the global north. And that's because of the greater computation intensive cloud modeling and mapping technologies that are concentrated in the global north compared to the global south. In terms of human skills in computing and modeling, we also have higher concentration in the global north. And even when these data outputs are produced, storing them also become an issue. A number of times, even where institutions in the global south are playing significant roles, the end products from the collaboration end up in large storage facilities in the institutions in the global north. And sometimes this leads to some tension when it comes to data management plan. So because of these advantages, we often have institutions in the global north leading processes and effort around indicator and platform development, which are often applied in the global south. So you have researches led by institutions in the global north developing or extracting data in the global south to be applied in the global south. And when you look at this relationship, you see that it brings about data inequality in the global south, where we have limited capability as well as impact of national institutions. So the institutions that are collaborating in this relationship are characterized by limited capacity, whether in terms of technological capacity or in terms of knowledge capacity or computational or storage facilities. And so they often are largely data consumption-centered national institutions rather than production-centered institutions. And so their role in the collaboration becomes that of boundary organizations like my colleagues have mentioned, supporting in the context of our studies in the slums and informal settlement, analyzing and mapping deprivation across African cities, comparing modeling approaches and data, and also ground validation at different urbanization types. And the implication of this is that with technology input intensity being more treated or available in the global north, we have the challenge of little or no data impact in the global south. Because as we can see in this art, that's slide 27, low tech. Hello? Okay. So as you can see,
on the wrong slide.
Okay. I have it on slide 27 because I was not allowed to share my screen. So I hope you are following. So typically, we have low technology input intensity or low to medium technology input intensity in the global south, which also lead to low or medium data impact in terms of translating research into action and also action to impact. What's the dilemma? So what has happened over the years is that with funding from the global north supporting national institutions in the global south, we have only succeeded in implementing research up to the end of the project cycle. So once the funding ends, in most cases, the project fails to continue, either to translate the research into action or moving from action into impact. And recent global challenges have also even created more lacuna for us. During the COVID, for example, there were a number of projects funded from the global north. Because of the restriction in mobility and all that, they got caught off with that challenge. And so some of the projects just ended that way. And of course, with recent crisis, which I would call political crisis as well, we have had a number of funding to support data and research in the global south withdrawn, which also is creating another challenge for research and data production. So the implication is that there is the need to think about a more inclusive approach that is going to strengthen the capacity of researchers in the global south to be able to make research, to move, to translate to action, and then from action to impact, and also to make research to even live beyond its project cycle. So my recommendation in the way forward is that in terms of the input, we need to develop capacities in local researchers, national institutions in the global south to be able to develop thought leadership, generating innovative ideas, creative technologies, and solutions in the global south. And I've been a beneficiary of this type of initiative in the LIRA integrated LIRA 2030, which is an acronym for Leading Integrated Research for Agenda 2030 in Africa, funded by the Swedish government and managed by International Science Council. This particular program initiated projects across, help young African researchers from the early and middle career level to develop initiatives across, technical initiatives in over 100 African cities, which have contributed in training and developing the capacity of these individuals to do impactful research. And since that program, a number of those recipients have been involved in so many projects across Africa. So that is a way of strengthening the capacity of African researchers by putting them in the forefront as the leaders of the project, not as it is usually the case, whereby African researchers in the global south are playing supportive role, not in the leadership capacity. And the activities that can generate such include co-designing sessions like what we are doing now, co-production of knowledge, stakeholder engagement, and knowledge exchange and technological transfer, so that the knowledge, the skills, and capacities can be built in the local, at the local level and local institutions in the global south. And of course, with a lot of outputs, including capacities in some of the critical areas like urban analytics, modeling, data-driven solutions for climate and sustainable development. And in the long term, it means that the global south institutions and researchers can evolve into data centers and be able to produce data infrastructure and lead big technology focused initiative like cloud computing and storage, innovative researches, and supporting open data services for government, national institutions, and even international agencies. And of course, that will lead to a great impact, which is what we are aiming for: equitable north-south power balance in data or knowledge co-production. It will also lead to the creation of standards for data generation or knowledge generation and for export of idea. And of course, it will strengthen capacity for research and development, and thereby leading to research that translates into action, and from action into impact. Thank you.